So we're here today to talk about something that's important in all of our lives, the internet.
We're all online a lot.
We use the internet at home to share pictures and send funny cat videos. We use the web at school to do research and homework. We text, we chat. We even use the web on the go. Literally on the go. Did you know that 75% of Americans use their mobile phones in the bathroom?
Are you serious?
Yeah, gross. Especially when you find out that 1 in 5 people have actually dropped their phones in the toilet.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know, I think that I might think twice before I ask to borrow someone's phone in the future.
Yeah.
But you know, we do use the internet for a lot of different things, so it is easy to understand why we'd want to be connected, well, wherever we go. Now, to think more about how and why we use the internet, we're going to play a game. So throughout this presentation, you're going to see a slide that says game time. And if you see game time, that of course means we're going to be asking you all to participate. So go ahead and raise your cards. If you see a question that you think is not true, show us red. And if you think it's true, then show us green. So we're going to do a practice round now. We'll see how you guys do. All right, so teachers are watching here. How many of you guys use the internet when you have homework due, to do research?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So we have a lot of people in the audience who are online. How about using the internet to follow the Bears? Do we have any Bears fans out there? Oh, man.
Oh, mixed crowd.
It's a little bit of a mixed crowd here. All right. How about using the internet to update your friends on what you did over the weekend? Yeah, me too. Looks like a lot of folks. And I think one of my favorite reasons that I use the internet to share photos of things I've done.
Yes.
All right. A lot of photo sharing. That's fantastic. So you guys really do use the internet to do a lot of different things.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of great stuff happening on the web, and the power of the web is infinite. But as you may have heard, with great power comes great responsibility.
And just like with so many things in life, there's some really smart ways to use the internet and some not so smart ways.
So because we spend so much of our lives online, it's really important that we know how to stay safe on the web. So we're here today to talk about 5 things that we can all do to keep the web great for everyone, but most importantly, for you.
So just like Julie said, we're going to talk about 5 tips today. We'll run through them now. So the first tip is going to be to think before you share. Really important to keeping your online identity safe. We're also going to talk about how to protect your stuff online, knowing your settings, how to avoid scams, and lastly, one of my favorites, how to be positive online.
Great, so let's get started. The web connects all of us. It allows us to share in ways we never before have been able to. With just a click, we can reach our friends near and far. But what you share and who you share it with can end up saying a lot about you and can actually become part of your life story.
And we want you guys to have a great online life story. So we're going to talk about our first tip to make sure that your online identity can be the best that it can be. So our first tip is to think before you share. So what exactly does think before you share mean? Well, it means that anything you post online, any comment, message, blog post, or photo could be seen by more people than you intended it to be seen by. Now, it used to be that what someone thought about you as a person was based on hanging out in class, in the hallway, during sports practice, after school. A lot of in-person experiences. But nowadays, someone can know a lot about you as a person without even having met you. In fact, your online activity can affect that summer job, your spot on the sports team, and even college admissions. Because the internet is a huge place, and things can go far and wide. I'm sure you all have heard this song.
It's been a while. I've heard this song a million times.
Oppan Gangnam Style.
So have I. I've heard this quite a bit as well.
It was just about 2 years ago that hardly anybody had heard this song, and now you all have heard it, maybe even more than you would have liked. It's gotten over 2 billion views on YouTube, which is actually the most in YouTube history. So how did this happen? Well, the video started getting forwarded from one person to another, and it went viral as it made its way all across the web.
And so this video going viral was a good thing because a lot of people enjoyed it. But what if the video or photo that went viral was of you, and what if it was something that wasn't so great? Now, I'm not going to say that something you post online is going to be seen by, seen over 2 billion times, but it could easily make its way around the school. And let's think about how that can happen. So things that you post online can be forwarded. So let's say that I send a message to one of my friends, for example. And this is a personal message. I didn't want it to be shared. But my friend ended up forwarding it to one of their friends, who forwarded it to more people, and each person then forwarded it to another person. That message went from one person to several people. And I didn't intend for that to happen, but that's how it can happen. Let's think of this another way. What's your name in the front? Yeah. All right. Alex, if you want to go ahead and stand up. Alex sent everyone a message. So if you go ahead and check your bleacher spot, you might see that message sent from Alex. If you did get a message from Alex, go ahead and stand up, please. So you can see that we have about half the auditorium standing, and all these folks got that message from Alex. So Alex forwarded this, and as you can see, about half the auditorium got it. That's how easily one picture can spread from one person to another. All right, let's give Alex a hand. Thank you guys for standing. Now, in case you were wondering what everyone was looking at, here's the photo.
Oh, it's our friend Jamie. It's not just pictures that have the potential to be forwarded along. It can be anything. So take, for example, my little sister. She had just finished her 3rd period science exam, and she was really stressed out about this test. So she actually emailed a couple friends about it, including some people in 6th period who hadn't taken the test yet. Well, this email got forwarded, and even the teacher actually found out about it. So you know how teachers do. If they know that someone has details of the test, they actually created a different one that was way harder, and everyone had to retake that new test. So as you can imagine, people were really mad, and my sister was so embarrassed. Aside from the potential for things to be forwarded, they can also be copied. So if I send someone a picture, I don't know for sure what's going to happen with that picture, where it's going to end up, right? My friend might take a screenshot of that picture, or maybe even post it publicly, maybe by accident. Resharing pictures and taking screenshots can get really out of hand. I'm sure you've all heard about a celebrity this has happened to, or maybe even a friend, someone who shared something that they intended to be private that ended up being public. So this picture we just showed you of our friend Jamie, it was just a silly one. She's just being a goofy person like she is. But what if this picture had been something really bad or embarrassing? And what if this picture had been you?
What you post online can also be found. So I know we pulled you out of class, but we're going to think about how many people are online. So, what is 1 times 2.4 billion? 2.4 billion.
A plus.
You guys are brilliant, clearly. A plus. Teachers, you saw that. Now, there are 2.4 billion people online. That means that something you post online could be found by 2.4 billion people. Now, that is a lot of zeros. How many?
A lot.
Any of you all know? It's a huge number. So let's put this into perspective. 2.4 billion people is 39,025 completely full Soldier Fields.
Wow.
And I'm sure a couple of you guys have been to a game before. That's a pretty huge stadium. So multiply that by 39,000. Now, I'm not going to stand up here and say that what you post online, again, is going to be found by all of these folks. But it could easily make it around the school. It could make it to your teachers. Parents might find it. Even your grandparents, if it goes viral and they're online.
It's really important to remember that what you share can actually take on a life of its own. So if it's something you wouldn't want the entire school to see, you should probably think before you share it, because sometimes the things that you share are really personal, and you want to keep them that way.
All right, so we're going to start with our second tip, which is to protect your stuff. So in real life, there are some things that you want to keep safe and just to yourself, and the same is true online. The best way to protect your online information is with a strong password. And I like to think of a strong password kind of like the lock on my locker. Helps keep everything inside safe so that people can't get my information, or in the case of my locker, get a hold of my stuff.
Unfortunately, these days, way too many people use weak passwords. Check these out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not creative. Password, hello, I love you. Now, I'm not going to ask for volunteers, but if you're currently using any of these passwords, please make sure to change them after today.
So we're going to go ahead and talk about what makes a strong password. And I need you all to pay attention because we're going to have a couple participants come up and play a password game. So a strong password is 8 or more characters. It can be a mix of letters, numbers, or symbols. And most importantly, it's unique for every site. What I mean by unique is it needs to be slightly different. So for example, if you belong to, say, 10 different websites and each has its own password, that could be difficult to create a password for each site. But it is important because if someone figures out your password, they could have access to every profile that has that password. So I keep most of my password the same and just change the end of it. So for example, my email has a password portion and then my birth date, and then my login for another site has same main part of my password, but then my dog's birthday. Something that's easy for me to remember, but different. So let's go over some really strong passwords. So at Google, one of the things that we really advocate is that the password means something to you. You could have the longest password with tons of symbols, but if you can't remember it, then it isn't going to matter. So we have Heritage Middle School here. It's of course you guys, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to shorten Heritage Middle School. So the year is 2014, HMS exclamation point. So if I went to Heritage Middle School, of course I'm going to remember that password because that means something to me. And same thing if I'm a Bears fan. So Go Bears changes the O to a 0, the E to a 3, the A to an et sign. We'll capitalize the R just like we did the G. The S kind of looks like a dollar sign, and then we're inserting an exclamation point. So that password would be pretty tough to crack, but it's also easy to remember if you're a Bears fan because it means something. So with that in mind, we're actually going to play a password game. It's called the Password Face-Off, where we're going to have 2 of you all come up and face off against one another with the opportunity to then face off against our representative. Can I have everyone go ahead and raise your hands who'd like to participate?
Think of
Looking
a good
for
password.
one girl and one guy who's got a great password in mind. All right. Let's go ahead. If you'd like to come up, and we'll go ahead and have you come up. All right. Fantastic. Okay. So you all are going to face off for the opportunity to play against our representative. So who would like to go first? Ladies first, right? Let's go ahead. Now remember what makes a strong password. 8 or more characters, numbers, symbols, and they should also mean something to you, okay? And don't make it a password you're already using, so then everybody know. Perfect. Yeah, that's good, and you got the 0 instead of the O.
All right, let's see what her competitor will do.
All right, so we have Kayla and Jerron here with both of their passwords. So we're going to go ahead and see whose is stronger. Can I get a drum roll? All right. Looks like Jerron's going to move on.
Nice.
Great job, Kayla. All right. Now we have the championship round here.
Wow. Pressure's on.
Come on, give us some energy. Come on, clap us around.
Woo!
Now you have an impressive memory. That's quite the password. All right. I don't know how you can top that. You're on the spot. Okay. Two pretty difficult passwords.
Oh, who do you
Can we
think
get a
got
face-off?
What do you think?
All right.
Let's see.
Oh. Looks like it was a close match, but Jerron does take the win.
You can remember all of that.
All right, good job, guys. Those were some really, really good passwords. But remember, a password, no matter how strong it is, won't be of any use if you share it with other people. And actually, 1 out of 3 teens has actually shared a password before. So you should only be sharing a password with an adult or someone that you really trust, a trusted guardian. That's because anytime you share it with someone else, you make yourself really vulnerable. Take a second and think just about your phone. All the pictures you have on there, all the messages. Someone with access to your phone has access to all of that. So we've got to be careful here. I want to tell you guys a story, a cautionary tale of these 2 girls I knew, Lauren and Angela. They were best friends. They did everything together. They trusted each other so much that they actually shared their passwords to their online profiles. Now, as you can imagine, didn't end well. The 2 girls got into a huge fight, and Lauren actually remembered Angela's password, went onto her profile, changed her picture to something awful, and worst of all, she actually then changed her password so not even Angela could get back on to change it back. So, not so good. There are a lot of great things that you can share with your friends, but your password, trust me, it's just not one of them.
No, it's not. So it's good to know to create strong passwords, and also remember, once you've created that strong password, don't go around sharing it. All right, we have another game time.
Woo!
Okay, let's see how you guys do. So, true or false? Only 25% of their people 25% of people have their phone on auto lock. So that means someone can't just go ahead and open it.
What do you guys think?
Let's see what you guys think. Only 25%. So we have got a good mix, but it seems like most people think that this is true. Only 25%. And it is indeed true. So if you're one of those people that don't have a PIN or auto lock, make sure you put it on there. True or false? 50% of people under 25 have lost their cell phone or had it stolen. Do we think that's true? Oh man, all right. A lot of people think it's true. Let's see. And
True.
It is true. Great job, everyone.
Yeah.
We've got a smart group here. All right, true
good
or
one. Yeah.
false? This one's tricky. Closing out of your browser automatically logs you out of the account. What do we think? We have got a smart group. All right, let's see what it is. It's false.
Yep.
Great job, everybody.
Good job. But you know, there's a lot more than just passwords that you've got to use to protect yourself. We take our phones with us everywhere. So we don't want people just walking into our online lives. We've got to keep those devices locked. You can use a PIN code, you can use a numeric combo, a pattern, a lot of cool ways to make sure you're keeping your stuff safe.
Now let's say that you do forget to log out of your account. Well, silly little brothers or sisters can do something like this.
Oh.
I'm also going to tell you guys about a story. There's a photo that went viral recently of these 3 Apple Store employees. So I bet a lot of you guys have been to the Apple Store before, right? So they have a lot of fun electronics that you can test out, whether it's an iPad, an iPhone, one of the MacBooks, and usually you can go ahead and browse around those devices. So Ellen here went to the Apple Store and logged on to Facebook to check a couple things, and she walked out without logging out. Maybe she thought you could close out of your browser and you'd log out. Now you guys are smarter than that. Luckily for Ellen, these 3 Apple employees found her account open, took this photo saying, "Hey, remember not to do this next time." Now, if those people or that person who had found Ellen's account open weren't so nice, they could have changed her password to something else and she wouldn't have been able to get in, or perhaps they might have posted something that was inappropriate. So this time Ellen got lucky, but I want to make sure that you guys aren't Ellen. Remember to log out of your account in public places.
Good to know. Lock your devices and make sure to log out of public computers, even at the Apple Store. All right, so we're on to our third tip, know and use your settings.
Great. So in my life, there's some things that I want to share with certain groups of people. For example, some photos I share with my family, and some photos I share with my family and friends. Now online, I can decide what I share and who I share with by knowing and using my settings. Now, one of the most important things to know is that almost all reputable sites will allow you to adjust your sharing settings. And these are typically found in the upper right-hand corner of a website. Now, finding your settings and setting them up can be a little difficult. So if you have questions, make sure that you reach out to a parent or trusted adult to help you. And let's say that, you know what, you say, I don't need to adjust my settings. What could happen? Well, I'm going to tell you about a story. So, this was a Sweet 16 party that ended up going viral. Several thousand people came, and as you can see, ended in massive rioting. Now, don't let this be you. What happened was the girl posted the invitation for her party online, but instead of changing her settings so that only her friends knew about it, she forgot and posted it publicly. So this is a great example of how you should have adjusted settings. So something like this wouldn't have happened. It was great to invite people, but she needed to know her settings and use them, so she only invited her friends or people she wanted to attend.
Great. Just like Jacob was saying, it's really important that you understand your settings, but equally important is that you're actually using them. I like to think about it a little bit like my house. I might invite some people over and we can hang out in the living room, and that's great, but that does not mean that I want those people to have an all-access pass to my room to start poking around through all my stuff, right? So your settings are exactly the same way. You get to control who sees what. So, time for another round of game time. You got it.
All right.
All right, you guys ready? So, our first question, 15% of Americans have never checked their social network settings. What do you think? Oh, yeah, answer for this one is true. You got it. All right, our next question. Over 50% of mobile phone users location tag their post so I can see exactly where that person is. What do you think? You can see how that's kind of unsafe, right? Answer for this one is very
Smart
good.
group.
Yeah, very good. All right, so remember, we've got to know our settings and we've got to make sure to use them.
All right, fantastic. So tip number 4 is to avoid scams. So in real life, you wouldn't take candy or some offer from a stranger. The same is true online. So you know, when you get one of those wild offers that says, win a free trip to Hawaii, or click here and win an iPad, you know what? It sounds awesome, but it's probably too good to be true. In fact, what someone's likely doing is something called phishing. Phishing is when someone tries to get your information through some sort of trickery, perhaps by trying to solicit your username and password. And the reason they do this is because they may want to take control of your account, or even worse, they might want to steal your identity. So you have to be really careful. Let's go ahead and walk through an example. So you can see here, Katie Scanlon posted, "Oh my God, click here, win 1 million, and see everyone who's in love with you."
Oh, that sounds pretty good, right?
Okay, Julie, you wouldn't
No?
click on that, right?
$1 million?
It's pretty absurd, honestly, and it does sound
true.
too good to be true.
That's true.
So in this case, you wouldn't click. But let's say that curiosity got the best of you and you did click. One of two things would likely happen. A, you could have something downloaded to your computer, or B, you might be taken to a site like this. This looks really similar to a Gmail login page for your email, right? Some of you guys use Gmail, I would imagine. Some of you guys, okay. So this page will look familiar to you, and you can see I'd enter my username, password, sign in to look at my email. But something looks a little bit off, and you can see we actually made it real big here. The URL says h1.ripway.com. Now that's not a normal Google URL. So in fact, these guys would be trying to get your login information. That's why you want to be careful and not click when something seems too good to be true.
Yeah. All right. With that in mind, we've got another round of game time up here for you. Let's hit it with our first question. True or false? There are fewer phishing attacks and scams today than there were a year ago. What do you think? Ooh, this one's mixed.
All right.
The answer to this one is
False.
false. If anything, there's more and more of this happening every single day, so we've got to be really careful about it. Next question. True or false, if you get to one of these sites, personal information is entered 50% of the time. What do you think? All right, let's see. Answer to this one is true. Over half the time, people get fooled by it. So you've got to be careful. All right, remember guys, if you get to one of these suspicious looking posts, tweets, or emails, don't respond and don't share any personal information. If you're not sure and need someone else to take a look at it with you, try running it by a parent or a trusted adult. Good sites like Google will never ask you for your password, so keep that in mind. And finally, if it sounds too good to be true, you know it probably is.
All right. We're moving on to tip number 5, which is to be positive. This is one of my favorite tips. So you all have probably heard from parents, teachers, friends, that you should treat others the way that you hope to be treated. Well, the same is true online. So before you forward a picture or comment on a post, stop and think, would I want someone to do the same to me? And if you wouldn't, then just don't do it. And if you do see something that's inappropriate or mean, you should feel empowered to report it, because all of these sites have reporting tools where you can actually report inappropriate content. Now let's say that you're a little confused as to how to report something that you found. Well, then make sure that you again go to that parent or trusted adult to help you guys out. But at the end of the day, the best way to make sure that there's not inappropriate or mean comments is to lead by example and be positive.
Think about how much you're online. Think about how much you post, you respond, you email, you text, you share photos. Every single time you're online, you have an opportunity to do something great. So now I'm going to challenge you to do something awesome online every single day. Whether that means you send an encouraging message or maybe you even text someone, "Thanks for being a great friend." These sorts of things are really easy. They take just a little bit of effort, but they make a big difference on another person's day, week, even their entire outlook. It's really easy to be great online, and it will inspire other people to do the exact same.